First of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, a first question. A lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President, I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, a first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love
if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that black voters should trust you with another 4 years. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition of that.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn, and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that, too, when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans have said?
I really don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some.
So all of this happened at the National Association of Black Journalists, right? Donald Trump walked into that room thinking it was going to be an easy photo op, take a few simple questions, and rant about how he has supported the black community, right? But that wasn't the case. The questions there weren't solved, right? Because he walked right into Rachel Scott. So honestly, there was nothing wrong about Rachel Scott opening. She didn't play games, she didn't throw cheap insults or even go easy on Trump, right? Rather, she did what real journalists, are supposed to do. She did what many journalists, don't have a guts to say, even in the face of the president of the US. So she quoted him directly, the battle staff with Obama and Nikki Haley, telling black and brown congressmen to go back from where they came from, right? She just read his own words back to him and asked the most obvious question. Why should why should black voters trust you after you've spent years talking like this? Why should black voters trust Trump? So what happens is that Trump broke down, right? Within 10 seconds, his entire composure shattered because the second he realized he's not in front of handpicked, because in some cases they're handpicked, audience, right? Asking simple questions and cheering up, the president. But here, the audience wasn't handpicked, they were real audience. So the moment he realized that, he didn't know what to do, right? So when this professional black journalist, stood her ground and demanded real accountability, right? Uh, Trump's automatic defense was throwing temper tantrum, right? So Trump didn't even try to deny the things he said. Rather, he started playing the victim, right? He immediately started whining about her tone. The journalist's tone, Rachel's tone. He literally stopped the interview to complain that Rachel didn't, say hello or ask him how his day has been. So think about the sheer entitlement of that. Trump is sitting in front of a room full of black professionals, right? Demanding that a black woman should show some emotional warmth to him, right? And politeness, right? Before she's allowed to ask him about the racism which Trump has actively pushed from the highest office in the world. So he wants some sense or some form of submission and not civility, right? So he wants to play the role of the great host, and because she treated him like a serious politician who needs to answer for his record, he calls, this black journalist, he refers to him as being nasty, right? And being hostile. So this is a very specific, ugly trick that gets used against black women all the time. The second a black woman is calm, right, direct and completely honest about uh, a powerful person's ego, right? So they try to paint her as the villain. They try to paint her as being angry, an angry black woman, right? So Trump was trying to trigger that exact stereotype, right, in the minds of the audience. So he wanted the story to be about Rachel Scott being rude, right, and not about what Trump has always, uh, about his perspective, right, about his perception towards the blacks, because he knew he couldn't defend a single thing that Rachel accused him of, right? But that didn't work because Rachel sat there completely calm, and he was the one looking unhinged, shouting at the microphone, right? Then the conversation shifts to Kamala Harris, and things get bizarre. So he gets asked a straightforward question about his allies calling the vice president a DEI hire, right? Which everybody knows is just a corporate code word for saying a black person didn't earn their spot, right? Instead of handling that question, Trump decides to play the arbiter, right, of who gets to be black. He stands up there and claims that Kamala Harris happened to turn black a few years ago for political convenience, and that she used to only claim her Indian heritage. So the audacity of a billionaire white man trying to define the identity of a biracial black woman to an audience of black journalists, is staggering. So Kamala Harris went to Howard University, that we know. She's a part of Alpha Kappa Alpha, right? Her identity isn't a secret. It's a political stunt, and it's not something she just picked up. It's not a political stunt, and it's not something she picked up yesterday, right? But Trump doesn't see identity as lived human experience. He sees it as a marketing gimmick because that's how he operates as a businessman, right? He generally thinks she's just using a background to get votes, which tells you everything you need to know about how he views the entire black community. So if you want to know how Trump thinks about the black community and black folks in America, you don't have to look any further than his comments on the economy, right? He starts rambling about how millions of immigrants are coming across the border and taking black jobs, not white jobs. So Rachel Scott immediately calls him on it by asking, what exactly is a black job, right? What exactly is a black job, sir? And you can see him stumble because he knows he messed up. He tries to cover it by saying, a black job means everybody that is doing the job, right? If black job means any job, why did Trump single out black people alone, right? So the truth slipped out, and in his mind, there is a specific restricted tier of the economy meant specifically for the black community, right? When Donald Trump pictured the American workforce, he isn't envisioning black women as vice presidents or tech CEOs or even surgeons or any other that white job, right? White collar job, as they say. He views black labor as monolithic, low wage underclass are supposed to be grateful for whatever clam is left over, right? This is actually an insulting worldview. He tries to use the economic anxiety pit black folks, against the immigrant workers, completely ignoring the real structural reasons behind the wage stagnation and corporate greed, right? So he treats the community like a group that can, be easily scared into voting for him through zero-sum panic, right? This isn't just a bad interview because there are real dangerous consequences to this kind of behavior, especially for the person that is sitting uh, at the highest or in the highest seat office, in America or in the world. So immediately after this event was aired, Rachel Scott was hit with an absolute flood of online abuse, right? Racist slurs and literal death threats from MAGA followers, right? So this happens every single time when Trump points his fingers at a black woman reporter and labels her nasty, fake, or even hostile. So he's sending a clear signal to his base. He's giving them a green light to harass or intimidate them, right? So the aggressive rhetoric on that stage turns into a real world danger for the people trying to do their jobs. In this case, black journalists. And what makes it what it was and what makes it was is how quiet the rest of the media industry usually is when all of this is happening, right? For years, we've watched black women journalists like Yamik Alcinda, right, and April Ryan get publicly betrayed and cut off during press conferences, while their white colleagues in the room just sit there silently waiting for their turn to speak, right? So that isn't journalism, that is cowardice. And if a politician can bully and delegitimize a reporter based on her race or gender to avoid answering a tough question, right? And the rest of the room does nothing, then the press completely surrendered to the politician's power, right? The media industry has to stop leaving black women unprotected on the front line. Black women have been, for many years, the absolute backbone of accountability, truth, and democracy in America. They consistently take the biggest risk and face the ugliest, backlash, while receiving a fraction of the institutional support that they deserve. The National Association of Black Journalists interview was a historic moment, right? Not because of what Trump said, but because it exposed the deep, pathetic fear that powerful people have when they are forced to face the unyielding force of black excellence, right? And Rachel Scott didn't flinch. She didn't apologize, and she didn't, let him run the room. She stood her ground and let, Trump, and demanded, Trump to speak the truth, right? So thanks for watching this breakdown. Let me know what you think about Rachel Scott interview with Trump in the comments below. So let's express ourselves without fear because they can't reach you on this platform. That I assure you, right? So for those on new to this channel, this is the Nick Report, and I'm your host, Nick. Consider to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Stay vigilant.